What's up, legends? The Harvesters, about a week or so ago, received a pretty hefty nerf. Their health has been decreased to make them easier to destroy when using anti-tank weapons, especially when aiming at their head. This was a bit overlooked by me, and I probably should have done this testing when this change happened, but alas, today is the day. So generally speaking, it's faster to kill Harvesters by focusing on their leg joints rather than their faces, but with this new way, it's far easier to kill them by just nuking their center mass as opposed to hitting their tiny leg joints that are constantly shifting. So it generally might be faster to kill them by hitting their legs, but it's definitely not going to be easier in a lot of the cases. We're going to be testing every single support weapon in the game against the Harvesters, as well as a couple of primary and secondary weapons as well. And at the end of the video, I'll rank these weapons very quickly on a tier list for those of you who just want to look at it from a bigger picture. So first, I must say straight out of the gate that there are tons of weapons that are just awful at dealing with Harvester. They can technically kill the Harvester, but I'm not going to waste your time even talking about some of them. Another thing I must mention is that hitting the eye perfectly will increase the damage they take by a lot. So there may be a little bit of inconsistency in damage depending how well we aim our shots. On that note, let's start with a terrible choice to kind of illustrate my point here. The Stalwart can technically kill a Harvester if you're landing shots on its eyes, but it's terrible at doing so. We're dealing trivial amounts of damage to them, therefore they're gonna take multiple magazines to die. But yeah, let's be real, we're not gonna be paying too much mind here for F tier ways to kill them. We wanna find out what's good, not what's bad. So with that in mind, let's continue down the list, but first let's take a look at a couple of insane primary weapons against the Illuminates. These weapons are usually amazing at dealing with the Illuminates in general, so let's see how they hold up against the Harvester. First, a fan favorite, the Eruptor. This bad boy took about 7 shots to take down a Harvester, 4 of those being perfectly accurate. You can kill it a little bit faster if your shots are perfectly accurate on their eye, like I said previously, but this will apply to most weapons we'll test here. But in a real game, as you know, we'll be landing some perfect shots and some not, so expect a little degree of inconsistency with how many shots it takes to kill, depending how many perfect shots you land. Regardless though, I would stick to leg shot with the Eruptor. That would probably be my recommendation. As for the Crossbow, about 8 perfect shots and several not so perfect shots got rid of the Harvester, so I guess that's a choice if you've got the Crossbow in hand. With the Scorcher, I stopped at around 7 magazines in. I mean, it does deal damage, but unless you're trying to just add a tiny bit of extra damage to them, I really wouldn't use it to try to kill them. Similar story here for the Purifier, about 5 or so magazines deep with over a dozen perfectly accurate charged up shots. The Harvester still stands. So yeah, I did not deem it worth continuing the experiment. I mean, it at least staggers them, which is kind of a nice bonus. As for the Plas Accelerator sniper rifle, this is a very nice surprise. About 5 somewhat solid bursts can take these big guys down. If you land all 3 shots on a burst on these Harvesters, you can kind of take them out with like 2 to 3 bursts, which is really neat. But yeah, it's quite difficult to achieve. Another pleasant surprise is the Senator. It took me about 8 perfect shots with a few not so perfect shots to take them out, which meant about 2 to 3 full reloads worth of ammo, which in my opinion for a sidearm, that's pretty good. What's not a surprise though is the Ultimatum. The Ultimatum one-shots them fairly comfortably, albeit it's kind of difficult landing the shots as they're kind of small and they're somewhat fast and you kind of need to get a little bit close. But yeah, as always, it remains a fantastic choice for dealing with tanky units. But what was quite a surprise for me that really stood out for primary weapons was the Jar Dominator. It actually is capable of destroying these Harvesters extremely well. A good few shots in its eye is enough to take it down. I mean, it was taking me about 2 magazines to kill a Harvester, but that's because I missed quite a few shots. If you hit them pretty accurately, you'll likely be able to bring them down in less than a magazine, and that's quite impressive. And that's about it for primaries and secondaries. Everything else kind of sucks too much to bring up. That said, let's move on to the big players of this video, the support weapons. For the machine gun, it's interesting. It can kill them pretty well this way, but I find it to be better by just nuking their joints. It's more forgiving than trying to hit the eye. It doesn't really have the armor penetration to deal damage if you're kind of missing the eye. So yeah, you're gonna need to be even more accurate than you would if you just kind of focused on the legs. For the HMG though, we do have armor penetration. You crank this bad boy to max RPM and we can kill a harvester extremely quickly. Not to mention it also kind of staggers them a little bit. It is truly amazing. As for the railgun, it can get rid of a harvester in 2 perfect eye shots, but it can be quite challenging. You don't need to overcharge it that much either, by the way. As you can see here, I just kind of took 3 pop shots at it and I was able to bring it down pretty comfortably. It's very solid, all things considered. The AMR is also a pretty solid choice for shooting the joints. For the face, it took me about 5 to 7 shots. I will say this, I think I'll prefer the AMR for leg shots, as it only takes 4 shots that way and it's not really that hard to hit. Grenade launcher is the same story as before, nothing changed. It's still not a reliable way to take down harvesters. And while we're on that boat, let's also go ahead and address the Sterilizer. You're not really going to be wanting to use this weapon to kill harvesters either. Just really don't do that to yourself. Moving on to the De-Escalator, the new support weapon. In case you're not aware, this weapon is suffering from an in-game bug where it performs dramatically better in group play than it does in solo play. And seeing how this experiment is in solo play, the numbers are going to vary. For solo play, it took me under 2 mags, which is actually pretty solid. I'd imagine in group play, you'll be melting these like a lot faster. Moving on to the Flamethrower, this was, well, actually unbelievably good. Just a few seconds and you wipe them out pretty comfortably. You will be forced to use an arc resistance armor set though to be able to get this close to the harvesters, so keep that in mind. Laser cannon is also pretty decent. Just under a full overheat should do the trick. But let's be real here. Most of the harvesters aren't going to be as brain dead as this one was in the gameplay here. So taking all of the pressure of a regular game into account, it may be kind of challenging to consistently kill them, as Voltlesses and flesh mobs will be pushing you off target. As for my automaton's favorite, the Quasar Cannon, if taken into account a few shots just slightly off the perfect eye, it was taking me about 3 shots in average to kill a harvester. Not the greatest, honestly, considering its cooldown. But yeah, of course, if you're perfectly accurate to its eye, it will one-shot it, but it is kind of unforgiving to do so. The arc thrower is, well, kind of awful. It will take you about 15 or so shots to kill a harvester, and you must wear an arc resistance armor set to even get within range of potentially harming it. So yeah, this is a hard pass. As for the Commando, we're looking at an average about 2 to 4 shots, depending how you land them, which kinda sounds bad, but it isn't in my opinion. Considering you can just unleash all 4 shots extremely quickly, it's really good. Just make sure you get the shield out of the way first, and it's going to be a very forgiving choice in my opinion, so I find it to be a great pick. The E.A.T, expendable anti-tanks, is also pretty decent. One solid shot to its face is a kill, but I tested that even if you land the shots on the side of the head, the 2 E.A.Ts you get per call down will be enough to take them out. So as long as you don't fully miss your shots, you will kill at least 1 harvester per call down, regardless of how accurate you are. The Autocannon is also pretty decent, assuming you have the space, of course. I say that because you've got to be decently accurate with your shots to kill them somewhat quickly. As you can see here in this gameplay, most of my shots were perfectly accurate and I could take it out in about under a full mag. But in realistic scenarios, it's going to be a lot longer and it's going to be harder too due to the Voltlesses and flesh mob pressure. The Airburst is, as expected, terrible. It's not really meant to be great at dealing with armored units anyway, so let's just move on. What is amazingly good though is the Spear. I'm super happy to say that the Spear is finally amazing at this. It was supposed to be great at dealing with them previously, but it always struggled until now. It can finally one-hit harvesters with extreme ease from any distance. Just make sure you destroy their shields, of course. Onto the Wasp, I am also happy to say that it is freaking amazing. It absolutely melts the harvesters in like 1 second. No aiming required, and you don't even need to worry about the shield either. You can just spam mouse 1 and that squid is getting dropped. And last but not least, another great choice. Kind of funny how all the S tiers were kind of at the end here. Lastly, for support weapons is the trusty Recoilless Rifle. Yet another goated option. 1 shot, regardless of where you landed on the harvester, and it is dead. Just make sure it's got no shield and you'll one-shot them with extreme ease. Next, here's a couple of extra non-support weapons just for your guys' appreciation. HMG Emplacement obliterates the harvesters in a few seconds, and now you don't even need to aim at the leg, which is easily going to allow you to get rid of multiple harvesters grouped up. E.A.T Emplacement, 2 shots to kill. Even when landing the shots outside of its eye, it's definitely going to be amazing at killing multiple harvesters as well. Also, both exosuits are really good, especially in my opinion, the Emancipator exosuit. And to finish it off, I also tested out the 110mm Eagle pods to see if it's improved, and I'll say it actually looks quite decent. 2 solid 110s gets rid of a harvester. Who knows, maybe it's finally making its way towards being a good pick for the Illuminates. On to the overall ranking. I'm not going to further take much of your time. Here's the overall rating of all of the weapons and support weapons specifically against the harvesters, not the entire Illuminate faction. I'm hoping you guys know which one is which, but yeah, let me give you a quick rundown of why some of these weapons are rated on those tiers. The S tier, we have Wasp in first place, followed by Recoilless Rifle and Spear. All absolutely destroy the harvester with minimal effort. The Wasp, however, wins because it doesn't even matter if the harvester has a shield or not, unlike the other 2 choices. You can just hold mouse 1 and it will kill it extremely quickly with an automatic aim. In A tier, all of these choices will destroy the harvester, but are going to have a little bit of a harder time than the S tier ones, as they may struggle from having to get too close, or maybe they're difficult to aim, or struggle if under the pressure of voltlesses, all of which the S tier choices do not struggle with. For the B tiers, these choices can destroy the harvesters effectively, but they're less forgiving. Some of them, such as the Flamethrower, requires you to get too close. The E.A.T and Quasar kind of require you not to miss at all. And the Laser Cannon and Machine Gun, you need to stand still for too long. And as for the Autocannon, it just doesn't destroy it as effectively as the A tier choices. For C tier, it's mostly some of the better primary and secondary choices. They can kill the harvester, but it should really just be a last case scenario type of deal. And the D tier is just an outright awful choice. I mean, it's only the arc thrower here. It requires you to take far too many shots and you need to get far too close, which requires you to specifically use an armor set to even be able to pull that off. And you'll likely struggle extremely hard from pressure from voltlesses and flesh mobs. I mean, it can kill the harvester, but it's just god awful. For F tier, we have choices that simply cannot kill the harvester, and we have choices that you're likely going to spend multiple minutes, multiple lives, or multiple magazines, or a combination of all of those to maybe kill a single harvester. It should just not even be attempted. And that's pretty much the entire video. These are the weapons being tested and ranked. I hope you guys enjoyed that video, man, and I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Peace!